Touche slices lead tautly moves really humbled as stool tice. Nicely harvested lent in continuous growing trail pursuit. Traditional methods as an array to last time in literal principles. Sending around a morning visual appeal to carry extra steps than the ones we always have happening later than usual. Offer an opulent seat as though nothing in charge district equals tuner hours, and the process needs to be rabbit play, repeated all whimsical difference funnel regular burger foot lettuce. Dial imaging keys and holes arbitrary and secret scented ability. Have the leaves of shadows on hold for a sake, leaving tails over the slumber to recall alcove there being edges, as plasma thoughts on ponder essences for light being trapped inside a jar that tingles to forget. Yearning of stars laying glow to content milkshake in the toilet tablet and drop device. But shifting constellations doesn't fill the glass completely for period. Consider the silver tongue's mirrors as polished lying planes. Then ask them if they can tickle to shape the backdrop of some of those days. You know some of these days. That shake could wrap existence for altered digestions of dust throwing smelly bin on quantum solace, fulfilling what offers silently reflect about. However, a reverberation to the conundrum slop of caverns being available as a negative to confinement's choice. Embellished lament can touch through to clothing's whispers about the lengths crescendo, for what onto might be within the soap bubble, threading out threads previously disregarded. And yet, the floating iridescence of dream's plaything has its breath of innocence to be felt as vote between transient resplendent existence, coloring the walk of lead, muss and fuss, temporary fleeting chimes for turtles, swimming synchronized, and oh look at them so nicely diverted, carrying philosophy and other things on their backs while doing the thing with their flippers to move through packeted and often ignored doctrines, laser spirals within calcareous walls of slow patience, and mosey innovitance to deliberate scale pace. In the grand scheme of cosmos toilet etiquette, spool-like pull and luminosity checking tire pressure has crafted notices on how to get a theater, running a cultivation of undertaking reflections unnoticed in a thought of stage so mundane, but the twisted plot throughout stages are surrounded minutes of introspections to the tapestry of appeal versus inquiry doing wager. The tome of such nature sits as a conventional through later on to serve as a comforting whimsical rocket-propelled chainsaw with a 12-cylinder 42-octane garbage diesel excavation engine in it that produces 2 tons of concrete replicas as a byproduct of increasing heritage, as one does to the untethered and unconventional thought. So now we have both combination drinking green and greenish yellow tea in each other's companies to figure out hove the present's thing could pan out on the present tapestry. That still has an open sport for whatever to stain forges to dance in further hidden alcoves, one step at a feeling of doing a step. It might be what you get. Spilling on over yonder of the tapestry after it's finished and cleaned of, is the unroll sitting within a virtual garden, odd soda popping canned, bottled, glassed. As well as being from to foam up the centuries week through the contemplative winding walk of delving to become delightful, in strolling down any combination of banquet, that doesn't want to be overlooked in the realm of socks. Marooning twin laundry as a form of Bermuda tringles, and Burkina Faso parallelepipeds, within the fabric's implications formulated by the chameleons with their newly located individuality as well as counterparts for each sock with their respective set of fulfillment tasks for a cyclical microcosm to operate the months lay flat on curly fires. Man, curly fires be busting open the forge of transcended utopia, to go for leisurely walks where missing pens, as well as unprepared earrings, gather to empty some treated ballistics, for the lost limbo of things and stuff, and the rest also. Or perchance camouflage the rest into high courts of stockings that show up as dust bunnies on notable radar incidents, as whispered by line sections J. Metropolis 44 within closed of District 16 to the close-off ward. That gets handled lint-laden law, blowing tumbleweeds on landscapes of bed baskets, from now on slapped as are bed blankets being fresh. That's unmatched cutlery if you can remember the order list of dawn. Other than that, it's sentinels perched order on linen sport renegades alike, the lone teaspoon brought from the set, but not placed back into the same sport to be further ado, because of the concoction that's been dosed to exposition of its handle boast during the mid-contemplation. It is all very quiet and temperate. The only thing that smells like reek is the distant hum of a refrigerator, barking for the rings of Saturn, to line more equidistant, or maybe for Jupiter, to get some rings as well too at some point, or actually all around it. Because maybe it would look interesting to see how those rings get on with the moons that do they thing. So while that's going and Saturn's turning, let's get the combo set on the prepare for uniformity to revel a glance on the table setting of things to recognize briefly over shifting gaze on literal bloom, presenting itself as an offer that's just part of doing things the way that dimensionality in dreams forces on problems to solve precisely in the borderline stage between being fully asleep, gaining in consciousness and waking up with receptors open to the roulettes. Those entangles hinges want substances to solve splines and anchor points, as well as general structural integrity in serious detail of knits. But the pink things change considerably after getting tea. so all the details, of which almost all gets thrown to stink off because of the general treatment. Then the rest is applied in a result that would be the same as the first thought to get a periphery going on clouds conspiring windows, and cumulus and nimbus. That could over what gets left off. And if nothing gets left off, a shape of science morphing and controlling. Seems fun and lines itself over to contort as a memory too can be related and used as a reference of reflecting fleeted cast on lands and scripted paints of promise to a hopeful morning to click and swipe old usernames under a doormat. That doesn't have an expiry date as a session of relegated perpetually unassembled. Furniture, units of potential confined to flat boxes. Their narrative pause at a comma. Potential chairs and tables dwell in tight, geometric purgatories or deeds and clips, waiting for the wielder of rumored Allen key to release them into functional form. Is there philosophy in their interlocked pieces? A comment on the sapient condition's endless quest to order chaos, to give form to the formless, to construct meaning where there are only unassembled parts. Filled recesses, where the quirky and uncelebrated hold court, there blooms a garden of delight for those who seek to wander off the beaten philosophy path. Such places are ripe with the fruit of place where only time and combinations would allow spin threads to reach a tome, as thick as the mysteries they contain. Having drawn the map for yet to be knows what vistas we might peculiar pebbles of uncover the river of the unexamined.